and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today is day number 14 of my Crafter's Companion 2021 Advent Calendar series. I'm starting off with a panel of pink pearlescent specialty card that I've already cut down to 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, and I found that was the perfect size to tile this mini embossing folder, which is around 2.5 by 2.5. So you can see I'm rotating always to the right hand edge, I suppose, and I'm kind of butting it up so that it's flush. It'll go as far, the cardstock will go as far into the embossing folder as possible, and I'm lining it up against the edge of the cardstock at the top as well, so it's flush on both edges. And that gets me a larger embossed panel, which I think is kind of a nice way to sort of stretch the look of this embossing folder, which just has really cool pattern of hearts, and there is a very definite edge to the embossed design. So even though it's a single panel that I've embossed it onto, you can still see a little bit of a border and a little bit of a edge between the tiled embossed design, but it almost just looks like, when you have a large panel like this, it almost looks like that's by design. So I actually think it's kind of cool. So I wanted to pop a sentiment in the center of this design, and I pulled out one of these interchangeable sentiment frames from Crafter's Companion, which I thought was the perfect scale, but I don't want the full detail that the die will cut out or can cut out. I was really mostly interested in the center portion where the heart is. So I'm actually just snipping just around the solid heart border with this die set. The reason why it's called interchangeable is because there is a plate in this die plate in the center. You can see me, I just pulled it out there because it didn't cut all the way through initially. And you can swap out different sentiments. So the one that I'm using is sending lots of love, which I think would be great for maybe a Valentine's Day card, or really just an everyday card too. You don't really need an occasion to send a card to say that you love somebody. So I think this is going to be a really nice general purpose card to have in my stash whenever I need. And you know, you could maybe even use this as a sympathy card too, which is sort of nice to always have on hand, because when you need it is probably the last thing you want to do is to have to make one. So what I'm doing here is just sanding the edges with this sort of an emery board, and that way I can really clean up my cut lines and any little pips or anywhere that I didn't get like a nice smooth cut along that outer border there. And to make this a little bit more legible, I am just going to back it on some solid pink cardstock, which it's slightly darker, but I tried to get a solid color cardstock that matched my pearlescent card as much as possible. I don't want it to fade too much into the background, but because it's solid and doesn't have a pattern to it, it will make the sentiment a little bit more legible, and it is also slightly darker, so that also helps with the contrast against the white sentiment as well. And now that these two pieces together, I definitely gave it a good sanding just to make sure that the both cut edges line up with each other, and I find using that emery board really helpful actually in things like that, or when you get a paper pack that has die cut toppers. There's always those little pips, that keep it attached to the sheet, and the emery board is a really nice tool to sand away those little pips as well. So, okay, so now I'm gonna just put my mats and layers together, and our card is going to be pretty much complete. So I love this heart. It's a really nice shaped heart, and I love that you can swap in different sentiments in the center there. And it's fantastic if you use the full die too, because you get a really lacy, intricate detail for your card panel. But I love that how snippable it is, because it's pretty easy to cut out this heart and just use the center portion, even though they haven't provided a die to sort of cut that heart out, which I think would have been a really nice design if they had given us like a separate die to cut that out. But it's not too hard to cut by hand. So the last little touch here is just some simply white Nuvo drops, and that's my card complete for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you want to catch new videos as I publish them, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing the notification bell. I hope you join me tomorrow to see what I make with the items behind day number 15. And until then, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye.